listeners, my name is Sofea binti Baridin, and today I will be presenting my assignment 1, which is on the research related to development and learners who are exceptional. The disabilities that me and my partner choose to study is autism, and the documentary that I chose to study is entitled Walking with Autism, Yan Yun and Yang Ling, Public Transport. This documentary is starred by the two sisters, which are Yan Ling and Yan Yun, who are 11 and 8 years old respectively. A little backstory on them. The eldest sister is actually active in doing track and field. She is selected to track and field CCA and had once won first in running 60-meter and shot put in her school. The younger sister, on the other hand, is good at drawing. Their father said that they were both not born with autism, but instead they developed it. When the parents first knew about it, when they first get the news, they did not went through the denial stage, but instead they were preparing for their children to overcome the daily challenges that are faced in daily life for other people too that do not have autism, so that they could survive in handling the daily challenges. For these two sisters, their support system are firstly, of course, their parents, as they are the ones who has been with them since day one. And next is their helper, who help to train them taking the public transport from back to school. The teachers too would help them by handing the parents note on suggestion of what they can do if they face any problems, so that they could fix it to get better. Other than that, running for track and field and drawing too have helped them to cope with their daily struggles. The problem that these two sisters face as children with autism are that they are not able to control their energy, as they and that there was this one scene that one of the sisters had slammed the car door way too strong and had caused another baby in another car to cry. And the others next is that people do not understand their situation, as they look like any other normal kids who do not have autism. Focusing can also be hard for them. And lastly, they couldn't control their self-talk, and they would go on and on talking even no one is there to listen to them. Well, with the help of their support system, they are able to control their self-talk. They know how to stay alert, and they know how to defend themselves in any unwanted situation. And they would know what to do if they are ever lost while taking the public transport. To relate this documentary with the theory that I've learned in EDU class, I chose Vygotsky and Kohlberg's theory to relate to it. Firstly, according to Vygotsky, when an infant and caregiver engage in an activity, the adult starts by directing and leading the experience before gradually handing over the greater power to the kids. Vygotsky claimed that babies gather tools to aid in their learning and development. To relate it to the Yan sisters, in their case, Yan Ling and Yan Yun, their dads had trained the daughters to overcome the daily life struggles and challenges that happen to other people in their life. First, the dad had asked their caregiver, the caretaker, to follow them taking the public transport back from school to get home, so that they could practice taking it, and soon they could take the public transport by themselves to get home. The father too had taught the daughters to take selfies and pictures of places if they are ever lost, so that the dad could help by getting them from the place that are lost to get home. This has helped the Yan sister to be independent, as the father had helped them by guiding them with the life skills. Next, for Kohlberg's theory, which is cognitive in nature, focuses on the thought process that takes place when one chooses whether a behavior is right or bad. Thus, rather than one decide or does, the theoretical focus is on how one chooses to respond to moral issues. The Yan sister, they were taught by their dad about which part of the body that are private and no one should touch them in the private places. The dad told the sisters if they are touched on the body part that others are not allowed to touch, they should be screaming and asking for help. This too is one of the surviving skills that they can use in the future to protect themselves, and so that they could be safe. And that's it from me today. Thank you for listening.
Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is Julia and I'll be presenting the second half of this presentation. Our second documentary is about Brian, which is a 21-year-old autistic American who had just finished his high school. And although this documentary is from the perspective of his sister, the main character is Brian. Based on scientific definition of autism, autistic disorder is a severe developmental autism spectrum condition that manifests as deficit in social connection, communication difficulties, confined, repetitive, and stereotype pattern of behavior. Now let's begin with the development of Brian. According to his family, he used to be able to take direction very well, that is unfortunately before his puberty. And after finishing high school, he was slowly becoming harder to manage as he was more prone to violent outbursts. In terms of the challenges, he cannot sit still, he's quite very active, he had speech impediment, he cannot focus well, siblings said that they could not understand each other very well, and within that there is also a violent outburst, he cannot handle public areas very well, anything new, anything being pressured, he is also prone to self-injury, property damage, and also physical aggression. In terms of the support system and the benefits of it, after high school, his family decided to put him in a special school that does activities to occupy him. Now, with enough guidance and encouragement, he was less prone to self-injury, and also people were able to understand him even more. The theory in use for Brian is the same as what Parnell had previously explained beforehand, is the Vygotsky theory. A brief explanation from me is that Vygotsky theory, zone of proximal development, demonstrate that he believes social interaction, particularly education, are crucial for the cognitive development of children. Now, as Brian's ASD are more severe, that he are unable to perform simple tasks and needed guidance from most people, which is his caretaker and guide. In a few clips, it was noted that Brian's zone of proximal development, or ZPD, are in its upper limit, as Brian requires a lot of scaffolding from guides and caretaker. Without scaffolding, violent outbursts can occur more frequently and severe. And although Brian may be uncomfortable or unacceptable to the new environment or interaction, with enough exposure, he was slowly being able to accept the guidance. While Vygotsky does mention that language is a key importance in child development, it is noted that although Brian's language sometimes appear incorrigible or not understandable, he understands instruction well and is capable enough to follow the instruction at a certain time. Now the next documentary focuses on Marcus. He is a 35-year-old German autistic. Different from the lengthy and more abstract documentary movie on Brian, Marcus's documentary was more straightforward and transparent. He said that he used to be more violent when he was younger, he used to be a loner but changes when he went to the counseling center, he sells items at the flea market, he has a hobby of repairing things, and he also mentioned that he never wants to grow up and keep wanting to be a child. This is his development. Within these challenges, he said that he thinks the society or normal people are like sheep. He does not want to be a part of the society. He has a little bit of gender identity confusion because he wants to be a girl sometimes. He mentioned that it would be better if he was a girl. He hates other people who don't have a mental disability because they make him feel terrible. He said he has a low emotional value with his father, and he thinks that his father dislikes him because he wants him to be normal. In terms of the support system and the benefits, Marcus owns a collection of toys which has music or sounds, which is his support system because he loves music and he loves toys. He has a radio group which helps him engage with other people, socializing. He's also surrounded by people who support him emotionally, and while his father are more on the technical side, like fixing things, his mother are more towards the emotional sides. Now, the theory for Marcus is the Sternberg theory. Sternberg's theory of intelligence stated that intelligence comes from the application of information processing components for experiencing, for the goals of adapting, shaping, selection of environment. according to Sandrock, Sternberg surmised three primary types of intelligence, which is analytical, creative, and practical. Now, Marcus described autism as someone who lives in his own world and have a specific specialty of his own. His specialty is sound. However, throughout the documentary, Marcus is not only creative, but also a little bit of analytical and quite practical. Apart from loving music and surround himself with music and noise, Marcus is as shown in several parts of the documentary as practical and analytical by repairing devices. Now, this requires him to comprehend how technology works, and not only he understands it, but is also able to incorporate other technology and turn it into something different from the original. Even start to improve himself through the community with his tinkering, as shown that he accepted some gigs to repair broken items. Now, from our research in regard to autism and autistic people, we understand that autistic people are no different from us. Sure, they have their own difficulties and inabilities, but autistic people are like a clean white linen who need guidance, help, encouragement, and love, just like any one of us. That's all from us. Thank you.